Are you feel insecure that he can hurt you?
If I see him, I suddenly, all my body starts shaking.
Britain's Sharia councils are under scrutiny.
Because he loves you also very much.
Yeah, but this is not enough.
They operate across the country, deciding on family matters, using Islamic or Sharia law.
We were unhappy. Well, mostly I was unhappy because I wanted to have respect in my life.
Mainly they hear from Muslim women wanting to end their marriages.
They cannot go to civil courts because their marriages are only religious marriage. They come here in order to resolve those problems, issues in the sight of God.
But the government's concerned they may be discriminating against women. It's now investigating whether Sharia law is being misused.
Even from those that are considered quite good, women have come to us with negative stories, and some of these are very vulnerable women, and they should be treated with respect, not treated as second-class citizens.
We've been given rare access to one council to get an insight into how they work, and spoken to the women who use them.
We'd just like you to briefly tell us what has been the issue mainly.
Each month, a panel of Islamic scholars meet in a side room of Birmingham Central Mosque with a full day of cases to get through.
And you say this marriage wasn't consummated?
No.
Right, okay.
Today, all the cases are women wanting a divorce. Some are here for the first time. Others may have been speaking to the council for months.
My passport had been taken off me and I wasn't allowed to use my telephone to make any contact.
Nasheen has come to escape a forced marriage.
That person, you've got to give your body, you've got to give everything to them. And if you're married,
no, you absolutely have every right.
And I don't
to not live in a marriage that you don't want to live in a marriage. So
this is regarded as one of the better councils. There are around 30 of them across the UK. Sometimes referred to as courts, the judges make rulings based on Islam, which are not recognised by the British system.
It's a shame that she had to go through all of that, but this marriage, there's really no grounds really for this marriage to be sustained in any form or fashion.
After having her case considered, Nasheen gets her divorce.
We have decided this marriage to be finished from today.
Thank you.
But not all divorces are granted this easily, and some councils have been fiercely criticised for the way they treat women seeking their help. We've been given a number of testimonials of women who were too scared to talk to us.
I wanted a divorce because my husband used to rape me regularly. Also, he'd married again, but when I contacted the Sharia council for a divorce, they pressured me into mediation, which I didn't want. It arranged the mediation with one of their local religious advisors, and I had to visit this man alone at his home. He asked me really personal questions about my sex life, and when I told him about the rapes, he said that polygamy was allowed. He said, "Be patient, you've lasted 22 years, why do you want a divorce now?"
I am quite concerned about the way Sharia council sometimes treat women, purely because of the cases that we get on the helpline, and they come in regularly.
At this helpline for Muslim women, a large number of the calls are about divorce.
Women have said, I just do not understand why they went into such detail. There was no need to go into that much detail, unless they're getting some thrill out of asking women these questions, I don't know, or making them feel uncomfortable as a bit of a punishment. I do feel that sometimes Muslim women are discriminated against by panel members, and I think what's interesting for us is that there's no good and bad Sharia councils, because sometimes we'll say, well, this one's not very good and this one's much better, but even from those that are considered quite good, women have come to us with negative stories.
So why do women use these councils? Often it's because they've had an Islamic marriage, without also having a civil, legally binding one. Under Islam, a man can end this marriage himself, but a woman cannot.
We got married, I was 15, and it was arranged marriage.
And this was in Afghanistan?
In Iran, actually.
In Iran?
Yeah, Iran, because we moved to Iran because of Taliban that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in Birmingham, the council hears from Yasmina, who also wants a divorce.
It started with arguments every day, almost.
Straight after the marriage?
Even before marriage.
Even before marriage?
Yeah.
Well, I think if I went to the English court, you know, he would say, where is their right to decide about my life? So now he can't say anything because their decision has been made on Sharia rules, and we all believe on that.
There's a lot of women who come here are in really quite bad situations, and we try to do as much as possible to help them.
What options would women have if you weren't here?
They really wouldn't have anywhere to go. So it's absolutely crucial that we provide this service, because if we've left them in these miserable situations, distraught, they don't know what to do, where to go, and often fall into deep depression.
He was different person, you know, with me. He was always angry and he wanted everything in his way.
In the life, ups and down comes. Argument, happiness, this comes in marital life. But what was the turning point that you decided to be separate?
It was violence.
Violence.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
So,
Because you had
physical assault?
Yeah.
Okay.
Physical, emotional. And
The biggest concern about the councils is that they can put women at risk. In some extreme cases, women have been refused divorces from violent marriages and instead told to mediate with their husbands.
I applied to a Sharia council for a divorce after suffering domestic violence, and I was told that I needed to attend the council with my husband. I told them I couldn't. I was in danger. There were injunctions stopping him going anywhere near me, but despite my protests, the Sharia council arranged some mediation for us. They refused to accept that I was in fear of my life. They then insisted I brought along 2 Muslim witnesses to confirm I was telling the truth. My husband didn't require any witnesses. I didn't know anyone I could ask.
We feel that in incidences of domestic violence, and particularly when the woman does not want to mediate and she makes it very clear, there should be no pressure whatsoever, because in fact by bringing them together in one room you could be putting them in danger, particularly if there's non-molestation orders.
Do you think that there are some councils out there who aren't treating women in the best way?
I regularly hear about that, and I'm sad to hear those cases.
Do you think that there are any councils that put women in danger?
I think as far as the councils are concerned, women decide themselves voluntarily to go to them. And if they choose to decide that this council isn't treating them equally, they can withdraw very easily. No woman has to go anywhere as such.
Are you feel secure, unsecure that he can hurt you?
if I see him, I suddenly, you know, all my body starts shaking and I can't change it. Unfortunately, 4 years I tried and I worked hard in this country alone with 4 children. So still I couldn't accept him.
Because he loves you also very much.
Yeah, but this is not enough. Doesn't have any value, unfortunately.
It is not possible to forget all the things and restart.
Because
Despite Yasmina's insistence, the council wants to be sure her marriage can't be resolved.
It's been 4 years. I have no feeling. I don't even want to remember him.
But in the previous meeting which we had with your husband, he was insisting that I would do anything. He's saying that I love my wife as well, and I've always loved her. And my children, I love them as well. Our first objective here is to try and
Focus on family.
exactly. So That's why Sheikh Bukhari is asking you as well that.
But family needs a happy mother.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll just discuss now. If for 5 minutes, if you could take a seat outside.
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll call you.
Getting this sort of access to a counsel is extremely rare. Most hearings take place in private, and there are no rules or regulations they have to follow. The government has commissioned a review to try and understand them better. It wants to find out whether Sharia law is being exploited at women's expense.
Do you think the government is going to be able to change anything?
I'm not sure if the review will lead to anything, because at the end of the day, I'm guessing they will come up with some examples of good practice, highlight some of the bad practice, and come up with some recommendations. But who is going to force these bodies to, implement those recommendations?
What would you like to say to the government about Sharia councils?
If they really want to help those women, is to come on board and see what's actually going on, how these women are being helped, and coming out of oppressive and depressive situations, which would otherwise would be impossible for them.
Take a seat. Looking at all the circumstances and all that you've gone through, we've all unanimously decided that your marriage has been nullified. And
when they announced, I felt that something happened that I wanted for years. I'm really surprised, because they cared about my emotions. I thought, finally, got my freedom.
Yasmina and Nosheen have both got what they wanted. It's come at a price, though.
The best £300 I've ever spent.
That's what people always say. It's the best money that they've spent.
I'm going to frame this now.
But this system doesn't work for everyone.
I paid the Sharia council £170, and after 2 years, still didn't have my divorce.
It's clear that standards vary, and the lack of regulation is a concern. But very few in this community think getting rid of councils is the answer. Instead, it's improving the rights of Muslim women, so they don't need to come here in the first place.
I had done it for so long, I felt as if I was just hitting my head against a brick wall.
Once her hearing's over, Nosheen decides to speak openly about her experience.
I feel as if that Sharia council do help lives. They do, because if they didn't, then if they weren't here, how would women get on with their lives? They'd just be trapped. They'd just be trapped with the lies that their families have told them, which is a man can only give you a divorce, and it's not a woman can ask for a divorce. And I've just done it, and it's the best thing that I've done.